starting with the holy name of Allah Almighty, who is the most merciful and beneficent, who is the King of the kings and Lord of the lords, who creates a man with the cloth of blood, who teaches the man with the pen. Respected Madam, dear fellows and friends, I am Muhammad Murtaza. My student ID is F2019119109, and I'm here to present on the topic of Victorian age, and I will discuss all the important and necessary aspects and things of this Victorian age, Victorian era. First of all, I would like to tell you that why the Victorian age or Victorian era is being called Victorian. When we study English literature or the history, we come to know that the reign of Queen Victoria from 1837 to 1901, the spanning 63 years of reign of Queen Victoria, due to which this period, this age, this duration is being called Victorian age or Victorian period or Victorian era, and specifically known for the Victorian age. And now I'm going to discuss about the important factors of this era, and I will also compare all the mentioned things in my coming conversation. And the first one is Industrial Revolution, and the second is political reform, and the third one is social change. These are the three important factors of this era. A number of others, and I will discuss later on in my topic discussion. Another interesting thing I would like to mention most of this era is the invention of the railway boom, and first telephone and telegraph was also invented in this era, for your general information. And before the Victorian era, there were the romanticism and the romantic period, and the poetry had been the conqueror and the dominant in that period, while in the Victorian times, Victorian novels were the emperors in the Victorian periods. And the British Empire, when we talk about the Industrial Revolution, the British Empire became the first global industrial power in the Victorian period, and they were producing much steel, iron, and textiles and coal. And by this time, the role of the monarch was to reign rather than rule. The important line of my discussion is this, that the role of monarch was to reign rather than rule. If we compare the Victorian age with our society, with the present time, with the present period, number of things comes out, and the common things which are found in our society. And when we study Victorian literature, and especially the novel for which the Victorian period is best known for, and two big names comes to our mind when we talk about the novels of Victorian age. And the first one is the Charles Dickens, the most widely read Victorian novelist, and the second is the Charles Darwin. And Victorian novels are portraits of difficult lives in which hard work, perseverance, and love and luck win out in the end. And difficult lives means suffering of people, especially the poor community, for their rights. And we can still see all these things in our society in the present time, that poor communities suffering for their rights, and they're passing through the difficulties and calamities of life. Same, women are also suffering for their rights, and they're not getting their rights properly. Women were bound to their houses in that time also, and in these days there are different areas that women are still bound to their houses for their domestic confines, and they're bound for financially for and dependent to their husbands and fathers. And this type of ideology is still found in different areas and societies. And For these all things, to oppose these things, different revolutions were passed, different movements occurred and started in that time, and also act was passed by the name of Married Women's Property Acts, and the women suffrage movement started, due to which a big social change came out. And um, one more thing, the negative factor of this era, I would like to share with you that the utilitarianism was at peak and found in the people of society. People work for their own self, for their own advantages, rather than caring about the others. And similarly, in present time, we can see all these problems occurring in our society. And the class system, another problem among the people were found, and a big gap between the rich and poor, and it's still happening, and it still exists in our society, even it has been increased for a few years. And if I conclude all this, then I would say that it was all about the realism in Victorian age, and which is totally different from romanticism, which was found before the Victorian age. Thank you so much for listening me carefully and with patience. If you have any question, you can ask me in reply. And once again, thank you so much. Goodbye, and Allah.